Hello, everyone, and welcome to the best and worst of Walt Disney World, brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. You can visit them on the web at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com, and they'll help you get started on your next Disney vacation. And you know what? They'll deal with all of this ever-changing things that keep happening at Disney, and you don't have to ever be on the phone, just them. So I say go for it. It won't cost you anything extra on your vacation, and you help support the show and help us continue to make content. So thank you, everyone, for checking that out. And I am your host, Rhino Clavin. And again, this is the best and worst of Walt Disney World. And in this week's episode, we're going to be having a little discussion about my Disney experience. We're talking about the best and worst things about it. And to help me have this discussion, we have Denny Sunderly.
Hey there.
And Craig Williams.
Oh, hoy, hoy.
So we're going to do this kind of a little more discussion-based. It's not just going to be like a list of all the best, a list of all the worst. We're just going to throw it out there and chat about it. My Disney experience has been around. We had to look it up right before the show because we weren't sure. 2013, since August of 2013. So it's been around as of the recording of this for about almost 7 years now. We're coming up on, and I'll just say right off the bat, I hate it. I am no, there are things about it that I understand are good, but I am somebody who technologically struggles. And Denny, I know that you said you're in the camp of you love it, right? Or you're okay with it.
I don't know that I would use the word love, but yes, no, I do like it a lot. I like the functionality of it. There are certain things I wish we had on there that we don't, or that were tweaked just a little bit. But I think over the years, the ways that they have refined it and made it something that's really useful for people in the parks is a good thing.
Yeah. What about you, Craig? Where do you stand on it?
Oh, I'm a fan of it for sure. I think that the positives of the entire system completely outweigh any of the small little issues that I've had with it throughout the years. And I have had plenty of issues with it throughout the years from time to time with little glitches and things not working. But ultimately, it's really interesting that you have this platform that shows your entire vacation and helps you plan your entire vacation right at the tips of your fingertips.
Right at the tips of your fingertips.
Very tips.
I didn't need to say that twice, but I did, and I'm sticking with it. But yeah, I think I'm a fan of it.
Well, before we get too far, Denny, could you give us a little, just a quick, what, for those of you who may not have been to a Disney park since 2013, which is not unheard of. I mean, it was only 7 years ago. Some people only come once every 10 years, once every 20 years, just give us a quick, what do you consider my Disney experience to be?
Okay, so for me, my Disney experience is a must if you're coming to the Walt Disney World Resort. It's a smartphone app, and so you've got to download that ahead of time. Go ahead and link your passes, link your reservation if you're staying on property, the whole 9 yards. So for me, Rhino, it's almost like a nice little bucket where I get to put all my things. I have a dining reservation that goes in the bucket, and it'll show on my Disney experience, my resort reservation, whatever. It's all right there. It's also, and in today's world of contactless things, so going to a restaurant and getting a contactless menu because you've scanned it with your smartphone camera app. So it was ahead of the curve for that, because we've got park maps here, which is the most wonderful thing to have a park map at at the tips of your fingertips, as Craig said. And just everything you need is right there. You can pull it up, you can lay different filters on it. So for me, it's something that's really essential. And the way that Disney has planned things out, has crafted the experience here at Walt Disney World, it is an essential piece of your vacation.
There's a couple of things I want to say. One, I knew a man from Nantucket who had a bucket. Two, this episode is actually not just brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, but it's also by tips.
There you go.
Steak tips, vacation tips, all the tips.
Any tips.
But yeah, so like Denny was saying, it's kind of this catch-all vacation planning tool, and resource that you have with you at all times when you're on your trip here at Walt Disney World. They do also have an app at Disneyland that works in a similar fashion, but It has, like you said, it has your tickets, it has park maps, it has dining reservations, it has show times in it, hours for any sort of like pretty much hours for anything that you're looking for to experience at Walt Disney World. It can be both a great resource and an incredible frustration, because if the problem is putting all your eggs in this one basket, or I feel like I should continue on with this bucket metaphor, but is when something happens, it can be this moment of like panic. It can be sort of this like, I don't know how to write this. And also, I come from a family where when all of this stuff started happening, when we started doing the shutdown in March and everything, one of the hardest things for me to do was explain to my family how to use simple technology. So, and not be in the room with them. So all I could think is, oh my gosh, how would these people come to Walt Disney World without somebody like me? So, I don't take that responsibility of what we do lightly, because I do understand that there are a lot of people out there who literally have no idea. And it's one of the things that I don't like about my Disney experience is that if you can't really get in tune and in the groove with it, it has become sort of this thing that is going to remove some aspects of your vacation. Like your vacation can't necessarily go as smooth as it is, or it's going to take a little bit more effort on your part one way or the other. But the great thing about this is that there are people, there are stations in the parks, there are people at the resorts that will help you with the app and planning with it and stuff like that. Craig, what's one of your favorite things about the My Disney Experience app?
My favorite thing... Yep, really putting me on the spot. Like, I didn't know that we were going to talk about it. I would say my favorite part is the integration with PhotoPass, probably, because, since they introduced PhotoPass way back when, it was always that terrible system of having to go to one of the PhotoPass stations set up in the parks or at your hotel, and you literally have to be on, one of the computers that's like ingrained into the desk and look at all your photos that way, make the decision of, oh, do I want any of these or not? And it was, it was a system that worked for the times, but it was a little bit barbaric of sorts. And then if for some reason, and it still happens to this day, but for some reason, if your photos didn't link up to your PhotoPass, then it felt like an even longer process than it is now. Like now, the PhotoPass people can do a pretty good job of pinpointing. If you can say like, okay, well, I know that I got off of Radiator Springs. Why am I going to Disneyland?
I don't know.
I know why I'm going to
because
Disneyland.
Because it happens
to
us all the time there.
Exactly. And the specific instance I was talking about with this did happen out there too. But it's the same system as Walt Disney World in it, that like Rhino and I took glamour photos, and we know that we did it right after getting off an attraction. So we had when we did Fast Pass for the attraction. So we had a generalized time of where it was. And they were able to go straight to all the photos that were taken in that area at that time period and swipe through. And then I think it was 24 hours later, it finally was added to the app, which isn't a problem. I mean, you want it right away so you can start posting photos. But in general, most of the time, everything goes smoothly with the photos. And I've had it where it's minutes later, the photos that I've just taken pop up in my Disney Experience, or sometimes an hour later, a day later, they pop up. But, it's if you have an annual pass, or if you have the package, then you can instantly download your photos right away and just start sharing them with all your friends and say, hey, I'm at Walt Disney World right now and you're not. And I love that. I love that functionality. I love the mobile order through my Disney experience. Sometimes it's a pain and it's a lot busier than just waiting in line. And other times it is like you feel like you have that insider tip that no one else knows about where you just shoot to the front of the line and pick up your food that's already waiting for you while everyone else is standing behind Becky Joe, who can't decide if she wants the foot-long hot dog at Casey's or just the regular size hot dog at Casey's.
I do like that feeling when you see the restaurant full and you're just like so casually staring at everyone and looking at the phone and you're like, ordered. But then I have had times where I'll have placed the order and it'll be like, I should have just waited in line because people will have gone all the way through and it won't go. Or I also find that it has some issues with like notifying me when the order is actually ready. So I end up just kind of having to stand there and wait for it anyway sometimes. But the thing with me is I have some sort of curse put on me long ago where if it is a technologically, like, I don't know if there's some sort of magnetism that's off in my body or something, but if there is something that will go wrong with technology when it's around me, it will happen. And so I often think I just carry some sort of like some sort of bad luck in relation to that. So I do take that into account when I speak about stuff like this a lot. You know?
No, you're fine.
Wait, who wants to go first?
You go.
Okay, I'll go first. Just one last thought with it too. I love that they have the Bluetooth functionality in my Disney experience with especially like the hotel door and being able to get into your hotel room. I am that person. Like, I always lost my key cards or left them in random areas, and it's not like it would not be unnatural for me to go to a hotel front desk probably 4 or 5 times during a stay because I keep losing key cards. And even in the era of magic bands going along with this, I don't like wearing my magic bands, or, maybe I have my magic band on in the car, take it off and then leave it in the car. And
I leave it in the room all the time.
I don't want to walk back or leave it in the room. Like, I am just, if there is something physical like that that's not my phone, chances are I'm going to leave it at some point in time. So being able to do something awesome like opening your actual hotel room with your phone, like that to me is another thing that I'm like, I can have vacation brain and forget where my card is or my magic band, whatever I'm using to get open, because I always have my phone right here waiting with me.
And there's nothing that makes you feel more like somebody from the future than taking the thing out of your pocket and knowing that you've just paid somebody with it, you've just done whatever. And I feel like whenever my phone is going to tap the thing, like a camera is zooming in on me as I do it slowly, and I'm like in the commercial opening the door handle and like I feel like somebody right out of a commercial when I do it. So what were you going to say, Denny?
I was going to say, akin to what you were saying, Rhino, about being someone who is technologically challenged, it would be play with the app before you get down here. So before your trip, sit there just for a little bit of time, every other day, and just play with the functionality of the app, because you will discover things you didn't know you could do in that app, and you'll more fully feel equipped when you're at Walt Disney World. Because, I mean, Rhino, if you, I get it with the whole, this thing just isn't working, or I'm not knowing what to do. Well, if you're more familiar when you're down here outside in the heat or in the rain, the humidity, or you're trying to get on all these attractions and all of that, well, it's less pressure if you understand it a little bit more before you get here. One thing that I love, and I think this is a new part of the functionality of the app, is the resorts are all loaded on there, so that you can, if you go into the filter section, so if you're looking at that main screen, it's the top left-hand corner, so you click on your filters and you can scroll down and then hit options and find every single resort in there, so that if you're wondering where the ATM is at the Riviera Resort, you click that, it'll show you a map, it'll give you directions, the whole 9 yards. And for me, that was nice to not only the parks, but to see the maps of the resorts and how to get to all the things. Baby care centers are all on there. So if your kid needs just a break, needs some quiet space, you can pull that up really easily. But my very favorite are the wait times. So the fact that you don't have to truck across a park to go see what Big Thunder Mountain Railroad is running at right now, you just pull it up on your phone. That's brilliant. Now, sometimes I do like to go old school, and I don't pull it up on the phone, and I'll, like, if I'm just there leisurely ambling around a park, I'll still wait and be surprised when I get there at Space Mountain and it's 70 minutes.
Yeah, right.
That kind of thing. But anyhow, it's just neat to have that right at your phone.
And so with the wait time, so that's actually where I get into one of my issues with the app. And that is its functionality that, let's say, like, I have it pulled up on my phone this entire time looking at it. I know it's too bright.
Me too.
But so if you could see it, because you can't, because it's all blown out on here, but Rhino will fix it. So like when I open up the app, the first thing I don't like about it on the home screen is like it shows an area of Walt Disney World right at the top. And then it's like every single ad that they could possibly like throw at you. And it's like, why are you advertising this all to me? The
I'm already here.
Should be, the homepage should be completely, it should be the most important things that you actually need. And this is like, I don't need to know that Star Tours is celebrating 33 years of space travel right now. Like, it's just so much stuff. But like, you click on the map, and for me, it takes me to Magic Kingdom right away, and I'm seeing wait times all over the board, and I'm like, this is awesome. I can see right now at this current time that Big Thunder Mountain's 25 minutes, Pirates is a 5-minute. Got to get on that then. And so I'm like, but, I'm scrolling around. I know personally what attractions this is pointing to because I've studied the map so much. Let's say I go to show the list, and then the first thing that pops up is Astro Orbiter, followed by Flight of Passage, only a 5-minute wait right now during previews.
I need to point something out really quick while you're talking about it, because I'm overlaying the video of what you're saying as it's happening. And anybody who is watching this video sees that Navi River Journey and Dinosaur just came up in the Walt Disney World wait times. Oh, okay. It's loading in. My phone is loading in the other park wait times as you're talking. So the app keeps changing. Sorry.
Exactly. No, and this is like the thing that I don't like about it. So the day that we're recording this, behind the curtain here, there's only 2 parks open, so it's not as messy as it is. But when all 4 parks are open, and you're like, I'm in Magic Kingdom right now, I want to check the wait times for Magic Kingdom. You hit the show list, and you think you're going to get only Magic Kingdom stuff because you're in Magic Kingdom, but then it brings it up to the parks. So then you have to realize, I have to go up to filter and then hit Magic Kingdom and then apply and then go back. It's like there's a lot of stuff in my Disney experience that you just have to add one extra step on it. And I know it sounds like we're complaining about it, but I have been using this now for years, and it still is like, I'm just like, I want to easily see what the wait times are. Why are you making me add different parameters around this? And then like with show times, I'll be like, this is clearly entertainment. This will be under the entertainment section. And no, it'll be under like this is a special dining experience. My God, why is Meet Cinderella under a special dining experience? That's a completely made up scenario. There is no truth to any of that. It's just slightly more complicated than it needs to be, and I'm not paid to fix that.
Well, and that's it. I think about people like my mother that starts to have a meltdown when she can't figure it out. Like, I got her a Kindle because I was like, it's a test for an iPad. Like, I know an iPad will probably be easier for her to use, but I was like, well, I'm not committing to this expensive thing without giving you a test run and trying to walk her through the Kindle. Like, I send her YouTube videos, I send her this stuff, and she still will forget stuff. And I'll be like, did you tap the screen? Is there a lock icon on the screen? Okay, you have to swipe the icon. Okay, I'm swiping it. Okay, did you try swiping the other way? Okay, it works. Bye. Like my mom, I think, would forget like the filter thing. She would look at it like, okay, here's the map of the park. Why is it a map? Why can't I just see where I'm standing right now? And I'll be like, oh, well, you have to know where you're standing in the map and then like, okay, you're between the carousel and PhilharMagic, like you kind of have to know where you are to know how to use the map. But then also my mom would forget about filters and stuff like that. So it is like that, like what you said, Craig, that one extra step. So I do feel like even though it has come away in user ease, user accessibility, I still feel like it has a long way to go in sort of just streamlining and simplifying everything. And it's like what you said, my big complaint is the second I sign in, I'm already feeling lost because I don't just know by opening it immediately what I'm looking for. Mainly I think you'd be using this for like a fast pass. And if I'm just scrolling and looking, it's not completely clear to me how to make a fast pass on this, And I know there's the plus button on the bottom of the screen, reserve dining, order food, shop, memory maker, buy tickets and passes and stuff like that. And it's true. Like I don't want. Are there people that are just opening this while they're at home just to look at the do-it-yourself hidden Mickey gardening tips?
Well, those really, they started putting those on the homepage, the home screen during the temporary closure. So those little things started popping up there, the little how-to videos or the little, the D23 article that's on there right now, little things like that started popping up because, you pull this up at home, you'd like to see, even when you're, far away, you want to see what the wait times are like. Well, I think people were still opening it up even through the temporary closure to try to connect in some way with Disney. And that's when they started putting all the things on that. But I agree with it would be nice if things were one step easier. For me, it's the friends and family list.
Oh my goodness gracious. Talk about the most complicated thing in the world.
Right. And the fact that you have to click on these three little lines and then you've got to go into your, so you're in your profile. Okay. You got to go down to my profile and then you got to toggle the thing over to the right and then see your friends and family list. It's just a little bit more difficult.
Wait, how do you do it? My profile, and then you...
Yep, my profile.
And then family and friends. Yeah, okay, But then how do I add somebody?
So you should be able to add down below, but that's even a struggle. So...
Okay, because this is what I noticed. When I've gone to do this before, and you say, I'll enter their name and age, it looks like you're just... Because you are able to make up like a dummy account for like a kid or something like that. And so... It looks like that's what you're starting to do, and the process is so... It's difficult because what if you're just standing with somebody? Why can't I just scan the ticket and be like, boom, Denny Sunderly is with you. She is now a member of your party. And that's how the app works in Disneyland. So that's one of those functionalities I wish would be imported over, but... I don't know how many times I've been to a park, like, because we live here, and I'm sure this has happened to the two of you, but you're also smarter than me, so I don't know that you've gone to a park, like met somebody, like a friend from out of town or something like that, and they'll be like, oh, well, let's add you to some of the fast passes. Let's make a fast pass together, and I'll be like, I don't know. We just should look separately, and I'll make a separate fast pass because I'll go to try and add it, and then I have like I had like a friend and then I have my friend's fake account, but then they also don't. They're not getting the email to check and go into the email and then confirm in the app, because you used to have to go to like the website to do it, right?
You still do have to go to the website to actually do it, but remember, the majority of people who are using the app and they're using this functionality are people who are planning their vacations and traveling in. So they've already, this is in the pre-planning of your vacation. It's let's get our group together. Everyone has their My Disney Experience accounts. It's everyone in the family or a group of friends traveling. They all have that linked together. We are in a very special issue with this, that we're annual pass holders that, sometimes it's like, oh, I genuinely pretty much only go to the parks with Rhino and Kylie, but every now and then I'll go with, like, I'll randomly end up with Jackie, and it's like, oh, well, I had never gone with Jackie before or Denny, so we're not linked. I mean, it's little stuff like that you as locals, annual pass holders, sometimes those moments arise, but for the majority of people, I think they're doing it ahead of time. And it's very simple if you do it on go to mydisneyexperience.com and do it that way. You can even do it on your phone through Safari or Chrome, whatever. And it's a simple experience. You just need to know what the email they use to log in with. And then that's all that happens. It sends them an email and then they link it and it shows up automatically. So it's not explained straightforward through that, though. Yeah. As I get the frog in my throat, the more I talk here.
Oh my goodness.
He's just he needs a quick cigarette break. We'll get him on his 5. You
told me this would be 15 minutes. We're going on 25.
You sound like the neighbor from Rocco's Modern Life right there.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I sound like Bev. Yeah.
Yeah. Rocco. I find it can be overwhelming for somebody that maybe, like you said, that it's a family that hasn't been here in a while, didn't know to do that ahead of time. I do know that Disney has been putting out emails and there is information. And obviously, if you are watching this, maybe you're doing some research right now about it. And in the age of YouTube, it is one of those things where I always say okay, I got to Google it. Any questions I go to ask somebody, I'm like, can Google answer this question before I ask another human being? But sometimes the answer is so convoluted on Google that for me, it can immediately overwhelm me. And it just makes me not want to do it anymore. And I'm just, forget it. I don't want to do it. So that usually, I oftentimes end up just waiting outside of rides for people or something. Not because I don't want to do them, but because I just can't, for the life of me, figure out how to make a fast pass. But I guess that's not really going to be a problem for a hot second right now because there aren't any fast passes. But I do think one of the interesting things about the app, though, is when Star Wars Rise of the Resistance came out and Hollywood Studios was able to add a feature into the app where you were able to check in and do a boarding party and they were able to create these virtual queues was something that was, I thought that was interesting to me because it was using technology that they're okay, well, you need this on your phone anyway, so let's add this extra feature exclusive to this one park. And I feel like more or less it was working out okay. Not in the very beginning. I know there were some loopholes that they had, but when I went to use it, it was stressful, but it worked. It was It was what it was. So I always think things like that can be added and changed are interesting. I don't know about you guys. We did talk about mobile ordering, but I hate making dining reservations because I usually will do it from the computer. I just find that trying to pick the time of the day is such a nightmare sometimes when it's a busy restaurant. When you have to do the thing where you change the number in your party and it'll show the time and then you have to you'll keep refreshing it and then you finally make the reservation, but then all of a sudden another reservation pops up and it's in that time window that you wanted and with the right number of people and you're like, I want to make that reservation right now before it goes away, but you have to cancel the other one first and then you have to make the new one first. And it is just this thing where I just want to be do you have anything from 1 to 3, this many people? And ideally that's what the app is doing, but I hate all these that you can play with it and some people might love it that you can do that and find that the window in, or I know there's the trick with fast passes, right? What is that? At 11 a.m. they send out more fast passes or something. Wasn't that something?
Doesn't matter anymore.
It's all gone. It's all gone. But yeah,
true.
you could refresh and stuff. I don't know, Rhino. I make dining reservations all the time on it. And instead of picking a specific time, I click on either breakfast, lunch, or dinner so that it aggregates all the times and all the restaurants. And I can look through it and decide from there. I don't usually have to pinpoint a specific time. Now, if I'm here on vacation, a specific time might be best. Yeah. And that might be frustrating if you don't have a restaurant that is anywhere near the time that you need for the amount of people that you need it for.
I hate that it lists every restaurant every time. That I just want to be no, I only want to eat at, I only am trying to get into the cantina. That's all I want,
That's it.
And I don't want to have to keep scrolling down to see if it's listed in the list. I guess maybe that's one of the things that I can't from the app specify which place I'm looking for. But that could be functionality that's being updated later. But It is what it is. You know, it can be a great tool if you learn how to use it. I do feel like Disney does have anyone that was ever a cast member, I'm sure, can relate to this. But Disney has a bad habit of like burying their information within their applications. I know on the Hub, which was a cast member resource, it was impossible sometimes to find updated information. Like you'd Google search something and it would be from like 8 years ago, and you're like, how is this even on the internet? But I do hope that maybe stuff will become a little more streamlined, but it's like what we keep saying about everything with social distancing and masks and everything. It is the new normal. So you got to get on board. And honestly, to get the most out of your Disney vacation at Walt Disney World, you do have to have some sort of familiarity with this app. And like you said, like we both said, playing with it ahead of time at home before you get here is going to save you a lot of stress and heartache, and that's that.
For
you know.
sure.
And remember, there are people in the park that you can turn to help you. They do have these resources set up. There's always guest relations. If you're staying in a resort, there's people at the resort that'll do it. And there's also, if you've booked with Dreams Unlimited Travel, you can go to your agent and they will, I'm sure, happily help you out with that. So I think we've said a lot about things we like and don't like, and I probably confused people even more about this app. So job well done, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for having this conversation with me. Did you guys have anything else to add? I'm sorry. Okay.
Nope.
Thank you, everyone out there, for listening and watching. And we will be back with another episode of The Best and Worst of Walt Disney World. Bye, everyone.